Is there a doctor on board? Please, somebody help! Her husband's frantic screams were the last thing Jane remembered hearing, as what should have been a dream vacation quickly turned into a living nightmare. The music stopped abruptly as partygoers gathered around and gasped at the 217-pound blob that was Jane, as she lay collapsed on the deck, sweating and clutching her chest, praying she would see her children again. And then, all went dark. What happened next is truly shocking, but it would force Jane to embark upon a journey that changed the lives of thousands of women, helping them break free from the shackles of repulsive body fat and reclaim their lives as healthy, slim, confident women. As so, if you're a woman over the age of 30 with more than 10 pounds of fat to lose, I urge you to listen closely for the next 3 minutes as I reveal the groundbreaking scientific discovery that saved Jane's figure, her marriage, and her life, while leaving her doctors speechless. Not so long ago, Jane had been a slim, happy, and vibrant young woman with a promising career as a catwalk model. But as the years ticked on and Jane entered her mid-30s, the number on that dreaded bathroom scale seemed to increase every time she dared to look down. And the weight gain was completely out of her control. Jane ballooned from a healthy 124 pounds to a humongous 217 pounds, and her flawless figure was buried beneath embarrassing rolls of fat and cellulite. Jane had gained a staggering 93 pounds, and because of this, unsightly fat overflowed her jeans and bulged out around her bra straps. Worse still, when she waved goodbye to her kids at the school gate, she felt crippling shame as a heavy wing of fat shook beneath her arm, as the skinny moms looked on in silent judgment. In an effort to regain control, Jane tried counting calories and cutting carbs. She joined the gym and even bought an at-home exercise bike, but nothing worked. Little did Jane know that she was suffering with something called the midlife hormone defect, which affects tens of thousands of women. First isolated in university research labs during the early 2010s, this little-known defect perplexed scientists initially. This deadly hormone imbalance, which affects roughly 40% of women over the age of 30, causes the female body to switch into fat storage mode. And so, the body you once felt proud of, the body your husband desired, is quickly buried beneath by ever-increasing quantities of fat. And as if that wasn't bad enough, the midlife hormone defect catalyzes something which we now know as reverse adipose thermogenesis, which actually sends your body's fat storage system into overdrive. And so, before you know it, you are completely powerless in your fight against weight gain. But all hope is not lost. And that's because, thanks to a near-death experience, Jane would accidentally discover the easy hormone rebalancing hack that changes your body's biochemistry by switching it from fat storage mode to fat burning mode. And you can do this without giving up any of your favorite foods. In fact, it is recommended that you do treat yourself and enjoy life, since stress and depression can have a negative effect on weight loss. And so, if you're looking to drop a dress size, or 3, or 10, then pay close attention, as I guarantee this is something you have not tried before. This is something that the doctors, dietitians, or self-proclaimed gurus won't tell you. And for once, this is something that actually works and keeps the weight off. Just as it worked for 46-year-old Maggie Taylor, who lost an impressive 35 pounds, and 52-year-old Wendy Ford, who ditched 27 pounds of unwanted body fat, and 45-year-old Julie Adams, who dropped a monumental 67 pounds and kept it off for good. And it is because of this same scientifically verified fat-burning hack that Jane was able to watch as her love handles, thunder thighs, and flabby arms melted away before her very eyes. But on that terrifying day, beneath 91-degree Mediterranean sunshine, as pain shot down Jane's left arm and spots covered her eyes, the belly hanging over her bikini was the least of her worries. Because in that moment, Jane genuinely thought her life was over. Jane's body had become a ticking time bomb. Not only was excess fat now bulging from her once delicate frame, visceral fat had also been accumulating around her vital organs, What's more, her arteries had become clogged with deadly cholesterol, and her weakening heart could no longer take the strain. And so, just at 39 years old, Jane had a heart attack. But God was looking down on her that day. Jane's life was saved, and in more ways than one. You see, not only did Jane's husband avoid a life as a widower, and not only did her children narrowly escape growing up without a mother, Jane was also given a second chance to completely turn her life around. And that's because on that very same day, the day that her life almost ended, Jane would discover a hormone rebalancing hack that would lead her to lose 95 pounds of deadly body fat. And the Jane you see today is almost unrecognizable. She went from hiding in sweatpants and baggy t-shirts to showing off her slender physique in the cute tops and summer dresses that she hadn't worn since college. And the dark circles under her eyes faded by the day. Her complexion brightened and she looked 10 years younger. And thanks to her youthful glow and sexy slim body, Jane's husband couldn't keep his hands off her, which was fine by her, as Jane's libido was as high as it had been in her teens. But that's not all. Almost overnight, the chronic pain that Jane felt daily in her knees and lower back disappeared entirely. And she was able to safely come off her hypertension medication. In fact, Jane's physician was near speechless when he saw her drastic transformation. And the fears he once had about her pre-diabetic condition were now out the window. Overall, Jane had more energy, she slept soundly each night, and was finally able to enjoy life again. Both doctors and scientists have coined this hormone rebalancing hack under various names. In fact, studies have proven that catwalk models have consistently used it without the public even noticing. An expert at Yale Health once privately called it the Catwalk Code. Ever since then, this system has become an underground movement that has made people live healthier, longer lives. And there are thousands of stories, just like Jane's, of women whose lives have been transformed by the Catwalk Code. Such as 48-year-old Carol Jenkins, whose marriage was saved when she lost 21 pounds of excess body fat, and wrote me to say,
"I'd been sleeping in the spare room. I blamed it on my snoring, but really, I couldn't bear the thought of my husband seeing my wobbly belly or touching my dimpled ass. And besides, my sex drive was non-existent. I knew that I was damaging our marriage, and I'd noticed him looking at other women, and I felt terrible, but I didn't know what to do. Then I discovered the Catwalk Code, and everything changed. The body I used to hide quickly shrunk down to a body that I was proud to show off. I felt confident, desirable, and our sex life was better than ever."
And 64-year-old Jean Fisher, who had no time for restrictive diets, but happily lost 29 pounds with the Catwalk Code and voice messaged me to say,
"I didn't want to hear a word about any diet that meant I couldn't have a biscuit with my tea or a slice of cake on Sundays. Life's too short to deny those small pleasures. And I wasn't about to run through the park at 5 a.m. each morning just to fit into my old jeans. But with the Catwalk Code, losing weight was easy. I made the smallest changes to my lifestyle and lost weight without even trying. I dropped 4 dress sizes and came off 3 of my 4 medications. I just wish I'd known about this when I was a younger woman."
And 37-year-old Tina White, who became a better mom after losing 57 pounds that was weighing her down. And in no time at all, you will have your own story to tell. This clinically proven fat-burning hack works for anyone with 10 or more pounds of fat to lose, but is especially effective for women over the age of 30. In fact, the more weight you have to lose, the faster this works, even on women into their early 80s. And since weight loss occurs as a consequence of changing your body's biochemistry and burning fat naturally, you can forget about dieting, rigorous exercise, juice cleanses, water fasts, workout programs, calorie counting, slimming clubs, ab trainers, weight loss shakes, expensive supplements, or any other garbage that you've tried in the past. And sure, those fad diets and quick fixes may work in the short term. But as you know all too well, before long, the fat you lost comes back with a vengeance, and then some. The Catwalk Code is different, but there's a reason that you've never heard of this before. Put simply, the greedy drug companies don't want you to know about these studies. They turn a profit by keeping you fat and sick and by selling you unhealthy drugs. Worse still, the weight loss companies aim to keep you yo-yo dieting and in a constant flux of weight loss and weight gain, of hope and despair, so that you continue to spend money on the overpriced smoothies that destroy your metabolism and the unrealistic workout programs that will make you feel like a failure. Even elite modeling agencies don't want this out, due to their ties within traditional health and fitness industries. But all of that ends right now. You're not going to give them another cent of your hard-earned money, because today you will discover the fat-burning trigger that is already lying dormant in your body, and you will notice a difference right away. Hi there, I'm Jane Sutherland, and believe it or not, I'm the same Jane that you saw at the start of this video, grossly overweight, keeled over and clutching my chest, on the day I almost died of a heart attack. That was the most terrifying day of my life. But now I can barely recognize that woman. She was depressed, lethargic, and hid her inflated body beneath shapeless, baggy clothing. Now, the woman I see in the mirror is slim, sexy, healthy, and confident. And clothes shopping is my new favorite hobby. But before I discovered the hormone rebalancing hack, losing even 5 pounds and trying to keep it off seemed almost impossible. And that's because the diet and weight loss industry didn't want me to succeed. Trust me when I say that I know exactly how you're feeling right now. I'm an ordinary woman, just like you. I'm not some Instagram nutrition coach or a bogus personal trainer. I'm a wife, a mother of 2 beautiful sons, and for years my body was my prison. But I turned it all around with one simple implement lifestyle change, and you can too. I know that in the past you've failed by counting calories or following a celebrity bikini body diet, but it wasn't your fault. The industry sets you up to fail. But I discovered something different. I'm talking about a biochemical reaction in your body that takes place naturally as a result of a couple of tasty food substitutes. A method that has been known in Europe for centuries, but has been blocked by the greedy, poison-pumping drug companies in the USA. This is a natural remedy that rebalances your body's hormones, switching them from fat storage mode to fat burning mode. And it's thanks to this incredible discovery that I was able to lose 95 pounds of fat, rid myself of pain and disease, and finally enjoy my life. But before all of that, I had a very different life. At 23 years old, I was headhunted by a modeling agency. Back then, I was tall, with striking facial features, thick, glossy hair, and a 24-inch waist, and becoming a model sounded like a dream come true. And so when the day came to stride down the catwalk at a New York fashion show, it was as though I was walking on air. The lights, the fashion, the cameras, the attention, the after party, it was all so exciting. From there, my career began to take off. I was featured in fashion magazines and commercials, and I walked down more runways than I could count, each time in killer heels. But then, just as my career was getting started, weeks before I was scheduled to fly to Europe for Milan Fashion Week, I realized I was late. My boyfriend James and I had been dating for about 8 months, and you could say that we hadn't exactly been careful in the bedroom. And so, one cold October morning, James and I walked uneasily to the drugstore to buy the test. He sat on the edge of the bathtub as we waited, as we watched a thin blue line appear in the white window. Pregnant. If my career as a model had been a dream, in that moment I came crashing down back to earth and landed with a thud. We were both in shock. I had always hoped to become a mother someday, but not at 23. Not when my life was just getting started. But I also knew that getting rid of the baby was not an option. And so, if that were God's will for me, then so be it. 8 months later, when our beautiful son came into the world, my whole perspective on life changed. I no longer cared about the modeling career I'd left behind, or that my waist was far from 24 inches because my son was everything. James and I married that same year, and 2 years later, we welcomed our second son into the world. And for a while, everything was perfect. I relished being a new wife and a young mother. But by the time my firstborn was in kindergarten, something started to change. The jeans I'd always fit in wouldn't button up, and there was an extra tire around my waist. But I told myself it was just holiday weight. And so I bought a bigger pair of jeans just to be comfortable, until I lost the weight again. But when summer came around, I wasn't any slimmer. In fact, my arms were larger, my thighs were wider, and my belly looked bigger than ever before. Months passed, and I went up another dress size, and then another. The cute outfits I once wore to catch my husband's lustful gaze were swapped for baggy t-shirts and sweatpants. Then, one day, as I stood naked in front of the bathroom mirror, examining my once slim-toned body, noticing the areas where more than 40 pounds of fat had accumulated, I knew that the time had come to take action. Having been a scrawny teenager and a slim college student, I had never been on a diet before, and so I had no idea where to start. I did a quick Google search and was bombarded with dozens of different diets, each professing to be the ultimate fat loss program. There was the Atkins diet, the vegan diet, the paleo diet, the whole foods plant-based diet, the carnivore diet, the 5-2 diet, the fruitarian diet, the juice cleanse, the eat stop eat method, Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig, and even water fasting. I was told to weigh myself, weigh my meals, count calories, cut carbs, not eat before bed, drink 8 glasses of water per day, meal prep, and keep a food journal. I had no idea that dieting was a full-time vocation. Then there was the exercise side of things, which was 5 times more confusing and infinitely more exhausting. Should I do low-intensity endurance cardio or high-intensity interval training? Should I do bodyweight workouts or exercise with weights? Should I train fasted or after a meal? Should I drink a protein shake before or after my workout? Did I need a personal trainer or could I go it alone? Could I do yoga at home or should I join a yoga class? Over the months and years that followed, I tried every diet and workout program in the book. I'd go for weeks without sugar, then break when I smelled fresh muffins as I walked by the door of a bakery. I'd perform hours of grueling cardio, then spend days rubbing my sore muscles and limping down the stairs. I threw out every cookie, potato chip, and frozen pizza from our house, and all for nothing. Because although I'd experienced some short-term success with those diets, before long, the weight would always creep back on, along with a few extra pounds. And those drastic weight fluctuations made me feel like crap. My body had no idea what was going on. I was losing sleep, losing my hair, and missing periods, and my sex drive was nowhere to be found. By the time I was 35, I'd gained a whopping 72 pounds of fat. I no longer recognized my body or the face I saw in the mirror. My eyes were puffy, my complexion dull, and there was an emerging double chin where my slender neck used to be. But I persisted with spin classes, kale smoothies, and skinny teas, all in the hope that I could lose the weight and actually keep it off. But nothing worked. Because little did I know that I was trying to fight something called the midlife hormone defect. No, really. Experts are only now looking into this. When we were young and in our early 20s, our hormones were well balanced. We have a healthy appetite and our bodies burned excess fat as fuel. But for many women, as we approach our 30s, things begin to change. Our hormones become imbalanced, often exacerbated by fad diets and calorie restriction, which causes us to store more fat. And if left unchecked, we continue to gain more and more weight with each passing year. Did you know that the human body secretes and circulates 50 different hormones? These chemical messengers coordinate complex processes in the body, such as metabolism, growth, fertility, and more. And when it comes to weight management, there are a whole host of hormones responsible for whether you store or burn fat. These hormones include insulin, glucagon, leptin, ghrelin, cortisol, human growth hormone, and more. And the delicate balance of these hormones play a role in whether you live a fit and healthy life or whether you're trapped inside a heavy, lethargic, and sick body that holds you back from achieving your goals. But none of this is new information. For decades, the weight loss companies have been trying to sell you supplements and diets that will restore your youthful hormone balance. But such claims have always been entirely unfounded. And that's because none of their quick fixes deal with the underlying problem. But that is because, until very recently, no one actually knew what the deeper issue was. For years, scientists have been trying to understand what causes us to store excess body fat as we age. Why do our bodies cling on to the fat that is killing us? Well, thanks to a recent breakthrough by scientists at the Yale School of Medicine, We finally have the answer we've so desperately needed for so long. Your friends don't know about this. Your personal trainer doesn't know about this. Even your doctor doesn't know about this. And yet, this discovery could change your life. So listen closely. Without getting too specific, what researchers discovered was a phenomenon they're terming reduced adipose thermogenesis. Basically, as we age, we store excess body fat, which can happen naturally as a consequence of genetics, slow metabolism, pregnancy, or poor dietary choices, or unnaturally, as a consequence of injury, illness, or certain medications, or as an unexpected side effect of crash dieting and yo-yo dieting. Then, when we have that excess fat on our bodies, our sympathetic nervous system should increase beta-adreneric thermogenesis in order to expand that excess energy as heat. However, as we age, some of us experience impaired beta-adreneric signaling, which means that rather than our bodies burning excess fat, quite the opposite happens. Instead of burning our fat store for energy, our bodies actually store more fat. And this phenomenon of reduced adipose thermogenesis is actually catalyzed by the midlife hormone defect. And so the older you get, the more body fat you have, the more weight you're actually going to gain. And so, as many of us have experienced, weight gain can spiral out of control very quickly. In the past, you may have been prescribed medications or advised to try diets that would lower your insulin levels, boost human growth hormone, or reduce cortisol levels. But in the long run, none of these methods were ever going to help you. And that's because none of them dealt with the root of the problem, reduced adipose thermogenesis. And because these fat loss methods don't deal with the cause of the problem, you will always inevitably end up regaining the weight. And fat is more than just a yellowing blob of stored energy. It also secretes toxins into the bloodstream. Abdominal fat produces inflammatory molecules, causing high levels of inflammation in your body. And that inflammation can trigger a wide range of systematic diseases linked with metabolic syndrome, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, stroke, and more. And that's exactly what was about to happen to me on the darkest day of my life. By the time I was 37, I weighed a shameful 217 pounds, 93 pounds more than when I first met my husband. But despite my lack of confidence and our non-existent sex life, we still loved each other very much. For our wedding anniversary, we decided to take the vacation that we'd talked about for years. We were going to Italy. It was the trip I'd missed 15 years ago when I had to turn down Milan Fashion Week after falling pregnant with our son. And I couldn't wait to experience Europe. On the third day of our trip, my husband had arranged a surprise for me. A wild boat party that would rage from early afternoon through sunset and late into the evening with unlimited free drinks. But as I climbed aboard the luxury vessel, I was instantly gripped with shame and anxiety. All around me were young, skinny girls, laughing and smiling, each of them looking flawless in their bikinis with flat tummies and slim legs. Suddenly, I became painfully conscious of my middle-aged mom body, my hanging belly, dimpled thighs, and wide, shapeless ass. And although this was meant to be my husband's gift to me for our anniversary, he couldn't help but look at the other girls. I tried to relax, to enjoy the music and the stunning views of the Italian coastline, but every time I caught a glimpse of my reflection in a window or looked down at my enormous body, I felt my chest tighten. I reached for another glass of champagne to calm my nerves, but the scorching heat of the Mediterranean sun overwhelmed me. And that's when it hit me, the onset of a heart attack. But in those split seconds before it all went dark, as my life flashed before my eyes, everything became crystal clear. It didn't matter what I looked like in a bikini or what those strangers thought of me. What mattered was seeing my beautiful children again and living a happy, healthy, long life with them. And so I prayed to God to give me just one more chance. As you know, I survived that day, but my prognosis was not good. The on-duty doctor, Dr. Greco, told me that while I may have been aware of the fat accumulating around my body, I probably had no idea about the fat surrounding my organs or clogging my arteries, and that because of this, the heart attack was inevitable. He told me to be thankful that this time it was only mild, and next time I may not be so lucky. Dr. Greco went on to explain that at my weight, with more than 90 pounds of excess fat inside my body, it was only a matter of time before I had a stroke or heart attack, or developed vascular disease, atherosclerosis, diabetes, or cancer. I felt scared and defeated. Hearing every disease that could be my future listed out like that was too much for me to bear. And so I broke down. In between sobbing and floods of tears, I explained to Dr. Greco that I'd tried to diet, to cut calories, and to lose weight, but nothing worked. My husband concurred, telling Dr. Greco about my early morning runs, Pilates classes, and the hours I spent on our exercise bike. That's when Dr. Greco mentioned what he called the midlife hormone defect. But much to his surprise, our faces drew a blank. Americans, he tutted. Dr. Greco sat with us for the best part of an hour and told us everything there was to know about this common hormonal imbalance that affects women at middle age. He explained that a combination of genetics, bad luck, and crash dieting can disrupt a woman's healthy biochemistry, causing her to store excess fat. But he assured us that my case was not hopeless and that a health specialist would be over to speak to us shortly. As I awaited the so-called specialist, I tried to process everything that had happened to me. I had just gone through a near-death experience. I was shaken, fragile, and a long way from home. The very last thing I needed was a lecture about letting myself go by some skinny guy in a long white coat. And to be honest, I was half expecting to be handed a fistful of pills and be sent on my way. But when a smiling 40-something-year-old Italian lady greeted me warmly and took a seat at my bedside, my fears began to ease. Her name was Sylvia. She owned a wellness retreat in a nearby village and was by no means a specialist in the medical sense. She was an ordinary woman just like me. Sylvia went on to tell me that she herself once suffered with the midlife hormone defect, but in specific parts of Europe, it doesn't get out of hand. And that's because, unlike the pill-prescribing American doctors, Europeans have more of a holistic approach to health and wellness. In Italy, good health is a lifestyle. People are slimmer and more vibrant, and the Mediterranean diet is considered to be the healthiest in the world. But it's by no means restrictive. Italians enjoy pizza and pasta and drink wine with every meal. The very notion of cutting out carbs or restricting tasty foods would see you laughed away from the dinner table. Health rituals are a big part of day-to-day life in the Mediterranean and can be traced back as far as ancient Rome and even ancient Greece. But that shouldn't get you to thinking about the heroic feats of ancient Olympic athletes. These daily health rituals require no rigorous exercise whatsoever. In fact, Italians don't even notice they're being health conscious at all. For centuries, no one really thought anything of why the Italian people were so healthy. That's just the way things were. But then one day, as the rest of the Western world neared an obesity epidemic, a team of scientists decided to investigate what kept Italians so slim, with the hope of finding a clear-cut weight loss method to share the world over. Those scientists examined a number of different lifestyle factors, from stress to sleeping habits, activity level, and time of eating, as well as looking at the macro and micronutrient content of the Italian diet. From examining the data, there were a couple of factors that really stood out. Health rituals that had a profound effect on the hormones. It was realized that those particular lifestyle factors kept the body in a stage of fat burning rather than fat storage. But that wasn't all they discovered. Their biggest breakthrough had to do with the midlife hormone defect, and more specifically, how it catalyzes adipose thermogenesis. You see, scientists found that when women with this particular condition practiced those simple health rituals, their fat-burning capacity went into overdrive. In fact, these women were burning 2 to 3 times more fat than healthy individuals in the control group. Researchers were able to observe women dropping dozens of pounds of fat in a record amount of time, all from quick and easy rituals that absolutely anyone can implement right away. The team were overjoyed and couldn't wait to tell the world about their discovery, because they knew that this simple and completely free fat loss ritual could save thousands of lives. But when it came to sharing this incredible discovery with the USA, the door was slammed in their faces. You see, the American healthcare system is all about profit. Greedy drug companies want to keep you sick and fat so they can continue to sell you drugs and turn a huge profit. Did you know that the U.S. pharmaceutical market is worth a whopping $446 billion? Big Pharma alone is on track to see profits of $610 billion by the year 2021. And so the very last thing they want is for you to be slim, fit, and healthy, as they'd go out of business. There are states in the USA where the rate of obesity is 47% higher than in Italy. And when it comes to morbid obesity, 7.6% of Americans fall into this category, compared to just 0.6% of Italians. And the pharmaceutical companies work hand in hand with the diet and weight loss industry, which in itself is worth a staggering $72 billion. So, as you continue to destroy your metabolism, create a hormonal imbalance, and regain all the fat you lose again and again, they stay in business. They set you up to fail from day one. But as I sat in that hospital bed, overwhelmed and confused, Sylvia took my hand and said, "This wasn't your fault, and I'm going to help you." Then what she said next, I couldn't believe. Sylvia invited James and I to stay with her in her family home while I rested up, before my long flight back to the USA. She proposed to show me the simple health rituals that would rebalance my hormones and help me shift the unsightly body fat that was threatening my life. Of course, I graciously accepted her offer. But when it came to bold claims about quick and easy fat loss, I was skeptical. In the past, I'd tried every diet in the book, all with little to no success. But now I was desperate. This was a life or death situation. Losing the weight would mean the difference between watching my sons grow up, get married, and have children of their own, and me dying of a heart attack or a stroke before the age of 50. And so I was willing to try anything. James and I stayed with Sylvia for 3 weeks in her beautiful rustic home on the southern coast of Italy. And while we were there, I was ready to follow Sylvia's instructions to the letter and do whatever it took to lose the weight, even if that meant running on wet sand at the crack of dawn. But she had me doing nothing of the sort. In fact, she was keen for me to rest up and recover. In the kitchen, Sylvia showed me a couple of tasty food swaps and simple health rituals that I could easily implement back home in the States. And everything I sampled was delicious. Each day, we ate rich, flavorsome meals, paired with fragrant wine, and nothing about my stay felt like dieting at all. But something happened. It was as though a switch had been flicked on inside of me. Suddenly, I was shrinking. After just 3 days in Sylvia's home, my pants wouldn't stay up. I had to dig around in my suitcase for a belt and make new holes with a pair of scissors. A few days later, my husband walked in on me changing, and his jaw hit the floor. "You look 10 pounds lighter already," he exclaimed. After the first week, none of my clothes fit me properly. After 2 weeks, Sylvia took me to the local market to buy some cheap transition clothes, as she assured me that very soon they wouldn't fit me either. More time passed, and eventually, with Sylvia and James by my side, I found the courage to step onto the bathroom scale. And I'd lost 16 pounds. I couldn't believe it. Tears of joy rolled down my cheeks. I turned around and collapsed into James's arms. "I knew you could do it," he said lovingly, as he kissed me on the forehead. And then it was time to go home. I couldn't thank Sylvia enough for all that she'd done for me, and I knew I'd made a friend for life. But now it was time for me to go it alone and continue my weight loss journey in America. My biggest fear at that point was that I'd regain all the weight I'd lost, which had happened so many times in the past. But this was different. Rather than destroying my metabolism with a fad diet, I'd actually rebalanced my hormones, which meant that my metabolism was set to fat-burning mode, so there was no fear of the fat making a comeback. And luckily, the health rituals I'd discovered in Italy were easy to put into practice back at home, and so my weight loss journey continued. Day by day, I watched as the fat disappeared, and beneath it, the young girl I once knew began to reemerge. I lost 30 pounds, then 40, then 50 with ease. In fact, it was virtually effortless, until eventually I reached my goal weight. I was 95 pounds lighter than the day of the heart attack. I cannot tell you how good it felt to be freed from a body that felt like a prison. To not get out of breath walking upstairs. To have the energy to play with my children. To have the confidence and the desire to make love to my husband, and to see a happy, slim, bright-eyed young woman staring back at me in the mirror. From the day I achieved my goal, I knew I wanted to help other women to look and feel just as amazing as I did. I wanted to give depressed and hopeless women the essential guide to weight loss, regain their confidence, and maybe even save their lives. And that's why I created the Catwalk Code. The name was actually coined privately by a good friend of mine who works at Yale Health. Initially, the Catwalk Code was a small, short-term project. I wanted to bring together 30 overweight women from across my state with the aim of losing a collective 1,000 pounds by a specified date. Then we would strut our stuff on the catwalk for a charity fashion show, proudly showcasing our new slim bodies. Finding women was easy. I knew ladies from my local Weight Watchers who had been losing and regaining the same 20 pounds for years, as well as chubby moms from school and elsewhere. And sure enough, thanks to the Catwalk Code, not only did we reach our weight loss target, we smashed it, weighing in at a total loss of 1,278 pounds. And we raised an incredible $8,233 for a local children's charity. The Catwalk Code empowered 29-year-old Lisa Ross to glide down the runway after losing 34 pounds of body fat, whilst also clearing up her acne and her IBS. The Catwalk Code gave 44-year-old Joan Dinsdale the confidence to stride like a model after losing 31 pounds of fat, whilst nabbing herself a new man who had a front row seat at the show. And the Catwalk Code helped 56-year-old Martha Jenkins to love herself again after losing 41 pounds of body fat, as well as freeing her from 6 different unhealthy prescription medications. After seeing how the Catwalk Code had completely transformed women's lives, saving them from disease and giving them their confidence back, I knew I had to do more. There were thousands of women around the country and around the world desperate to lose weight, and I was going to help them, even if that meant going head-to-head with the pharmaceutical companies. And so, working closely with a product development team, I set out to create a digital version of the Catwalk Code so that my surefire fat loss method would be accessible to women everywhere and in their own homes. The Catwalk Code details the subtle and easy-to-implement lifestyle changes that will ensure your success. These simple health rituals will rebalance your hormones, turning your body into a fat-burning machine, whilst also turning back the clock on aging and disease. And remember, this is not a diet. You will not be required to cut out any of your favorite food or do hours of grueling exercise. Rather, the Catwalk Code provides a solution for rebalancing your biochemistry, switching your body from fat storage mode to fat burning mode, so you will be losing weight without even thinking about it. At no point will you feel like you're restricting yourself. The only time you'll even remember you're following a weight loss program is when you see those pounds melt away in front of the mirror and the number on the scale plummet. And if you're one of those tens of thousands of women who are currently suffering with the midlife hormone defect, this method will be even more effective. You'll be burning 2 to 3 times more fat than the average person, and you'll notice the difference within the first few days. And this method will work for you whether you have 10, 20, 50, or even 100 more pounds to lose. It works for anyone at any age, but is especially effective for women. And I cannot wait for you to experience how good it feels to fit in those jeans again, to notice your complexion brighten, to attract the male gaze once more, and to feel fitter and healthier than you have in years. And as I want to help as many women as possible with the Catwalk Code, I'm making it unbelievably affordable. In fact, the small amount you pay will be going directly to the product development team and the customer service department. I will not be taking a penny for myself. And that's why all you're paying is the incredibly low price that you see on the screen right now. And trust me when I say that is nothing for a solution that will completely change your life and perhaps even save your life, just as it has done already for hundreds of women across North America, such as Trisha Logan from Nevada.
I've just started using the Catwalk Code, and I've already lost 17 pounds. I can't stop smiling. Thank you so much.
And Arian Reeves from Toronto.
I'm now 6 months in, and not only have I kept the weight off, but I'm still dropping dress sizes. The Catwalk Code is a godsend.
And when you purchase the Catwalk Code today, you will be doing so safely and securely with a 60-day satisfaction guarantee. This method has worked for hundreds of women, and it will work for you too. But I want you to feel confident about making this investment in yourself. And so I've made sure your purchase is protected. And so, if you feel as though you're not seeing your desired weight loss results within the next 2 months, I will give you a full refund. But honestly, I cannot see how that could even be possible, as this bulletproof method works for anyone of any age and with any amount of fat to lose. Whether you have restricted mobility, specialist dietary requirements, diabetes, or even metabolic syndrome, the Catwalk Code is the weight loss solution you need. And to make your experience as smooth as possible, I have assembled an incomparable customer service team to guide you on your journey. This dedicated, close-knit group of women have each experienced success with the Catwalk Code, so they know exactly what you're going through, and they will be more than happy to answer any questions you may have. The very last thing this experience should be is stressful. If anything, it should be fun. As there is no better feeling in the world than seeing the number on that scale drop, and before long, you will be experiencing that thrill on a regular basis. While you've been listening to me today, you've probably been fantasizing about how good you're going to look in your bikini, that little black dress, or maybe even your wedding dress. Or perhaps you've been picturing the jealous stares of your friends and colleagues. But let me ask you a serious question. How much do you value looking into your partner's eyes each morning? How much do you cherish cuddles with your children on the sofa? And how special are Christmases and holidays with your family? Because it's those moments that life is really all about. Life is precious and life is short, and it can be taken from you in the blink of an eye. I almost lost my life, and so I know too well just how quickly everything you love can be stolen from you. But I was given a second chance, and now I value every moment that I get to spend with the people I love most. The truth is, excess fat, belly fat in particular, can be life-threatening. Coronary heart disease, hypertension, atheroscoliosis, kidney failure, fatty liver disease, breathing problems, type 2 diabetes, and even cancer can all be caused by obesity. You need to lose the weight. You need to reclaim your health. And you need to be there for your family. This is more than just vanity. This is more than just toned arms and a flat belly. This is the difference between life and death. You cannot afford to pass up this opportunity to turn your life around. And so I strongly suggest you take action. Download the Catwalk Code and obliterate the unhealthy belly fat that could otherwise take your life. I truly wish that I could help every woman to lose weight and get her life back with the Catwalk Code. But unfortunately, when our team is at maximum capacity, I will be forced to stop taking on new members. When word gets around that there's a weight loss solution that actually works, desperate women are prepared to fight tooth and nail to get their hands on it. Especially when that solution doesn't involve you giving up any of your favorite foods. And so, if you would like to try the Catwalk Code for yourself, to shed those excess pounds and to look and feel better than ever, you need to click the button on this page right now. Hesitation could mean missing out on your chance to live the healthy, happy, long life while looking and feeling amazing. Remember, I know what you're feeling. I'm an ordinary woman just like you, and once upon a time, I was where you may be now. Overweight, depressed, and feeling utterly hopeless. But I turned my life around, and you can too. It took a near-death experience for me to finally lose the weight, but things don't need to get that bad for you. You can make a change right now, today, and then be there to see your son or daughter graduate, to play with your grandchildren, and to enjoy a long, active, and fulfilling retirement. You can lose the weight. You can change your life, and you will be happy again. And all it's going to take is the click of a button on this page right now. Imagine fitting into all the stylish clothes that you pass by at the mall as you opt for baggy t-shirts. Imagine feeling confident and sexy again and adding the spark back into your marriage. And imagine having the energy to do everything you want in life. You can do this. You will do this. And then life will be your catwalk. I cannot wait for you to join me and hundreds of other women who have experienced success with this easy and effective weight loss program. Join me now, and I'll speak to you again in just a moment. Hey, you're still here? Well, that's not a problem because I wanted to take a moment to answer some of our most frequently asked questions so you can feel entirely confident about your decision to try the Catwalk Code today. First up, let's deal with some of the concerns we hear most often. I have bad genetics, a slow metabolism, I'm over 50, I have stubborn belly fat, I never lost my baby weight, I'm big boned. Can I really lose weight with the Catwalk Code? Absolutely. The Catwalk Code has been designed to work for anyone, and it is especially effective for women over 30 with stubborn fat to lose. With our unique method, your metabolism will be working at maximum capacity, so you'll be burning fat faster than ever before, and keeping the weight off. I have diabetes, thyroid problems, heart disease. I'm taking various medications. Can I try the Catwalk Code? The Catwalk Code is for everyone. Although this program has not been designed to treat or cure any specific diseases or medical condition, many of our angels have reported decreased symptoms, as well as vast improvements in overall health after following the program for a few weeks or months. I don't have much time to exercise. Can the Catwalk Code work for a very busy person? Most certainly. The program is not time-consuming and can fit easily into any schedule. This solution can work for you whether you're full-time employed, a busy mom, or simply don't have enough hours in the day. I'm celiac, vegetarian, pescatarian, vegan. I have food allergies. Can I use the Catwalk Code? Not a problem. The Catwalk Code is accommodating to any and all dietary requirements. I can't afford a gym membership, supplements, superfoods, or at-home gym equipment. Can I use the Catwalk Code if I'm on a tight budget? Definitely. The Catwalk Code works for everyone, no matter your financial situation. Your new diet regime will consist of everyday foods, so do not worry about eating goji berries for breakfast each morning, and you will not be asked to join a gym or waste a single dollar of your money on nonsense ab crunchers or waist trainers, as they simply do not work. I've tried no end of diets in the past, and each time I regained the weight. Why is the Catwalk Code any different? No diet you've tried before has dealt with the underlying problem. The problem that has been perpetuating your weight loss, weight gain cycle. Reverse adipose thermogenesis has been discovered to be catalyzed the midlife hormone defect only recently. This cutting-edge research shows one of the true root causes of why belly fat can be so stubborn to get rid of. The Catwalk Code is currently the only solution that targets the fundamental cause of the problem for effortless, sustainable weight loss. With this method, you will not only lose your weight, but you will keep it off for good. What should I do if I lose weight too quickly? Try not to panic. Seeing your body shrink rapidly can be quite a shock, especially when none of your clothes fit. But don't worry, it will just take some time for you to readjust to your new, slim, healthy body. We've never known any of our angels to dip below a healthy body weight, so you have nothing to be concerned about. Could you please tell me more about the guarantee? Of course. I'm certain that the Catwalk Code will help you ditch that unsightly body fat and reclaim your health and your youth. However, you can rest assured knowing that your purchase will be protected by a 60-day money-back guarantee. So if you're not seeing the desired results 2 months from now, you will be given a full refund, no questions asked, which means you have absolutely nothing to lose. So go ahead and click that Add to Cart button. It's time for you to join our growing team of angels by embarking upon your own weight loss journey. And you'll hear from me again in just a moment.